if you choose the busiest weekend of the year to go travel from an airport, you're going to find it. You're going to find it. It won't be smooth. Let's put it like this: it will be crowded. There's undoubtedly it will be crowded at the airports. It's going to be crowded on the roads, and it's going to be crowded at the ports.
I mean, there's added problems this year. Of course, there are the air traffic control restrictions because of the war in Ukraine. Some people some staff at UK airports also striking. So those are additional challenges thrown in, aren't they?
They are. I think these are surmountable, and I think even at Dover, where we've got a real pinch point, Dover themselves have put in, and they've more than doubled the level of French border officials, and they've dramatically improved the reception of coaches there. So I'm not telling anybody who's about to leave the country this today or tomorrow that they're going to have an uncrowded time, but they have to allow for the fact this is the most crowded time of the year, and you're going to get crowds.
I'm just wondering, it's taken us a few years, hasn't it, since the pandemic for people to feel confident enough, some people to feel confident enough to travel. Do you think there's also an element that people have almost forgotten how you're meant to travel? You know, they maybe turn up too early, too late at the airport. I mean, we do have a level of responsibility here, don't we?
I think you're right. I don't think people. The amazing thing is that people are reverting back to normal, both in terms of the patterns of the pattern of what they do and their behaviour when they do it. If you looked at Heathrow, sorry, Gatwick or Heathrow or any other regional airport this Saturday, and look at the Saturday back in 2019, I don't think you would spot too many differences. I think the arrival of extreme weather in the Mediterranean is extraordinary insofar as it has not impacted demand patterns. We have almost no record of anyone cancelling as a result of it, and nor does it seem to reduce the level of the short-term demand for people to go there. So there is really robust consistency in the way in which people function around holidays. And I don't think we should be surprised. I think shifts in pattern of holidays in the UK take generations. It took 20 to 30 years for people to move away from having beach holidays on the south coast or the coastal resorts of England, Wales, and Scotland, and move them to Spain and other points of the Mediterranean. It took a long time, and I think it's going to take a long time for them to shift away from that.
You mentioned the heat waves in Europe. If you were put off by it, you know, if you know that you're flying out somewhere and it's going to potentially be 40 degrees plus, do you have any rights to be able to cancel it and get your money back?
Well, I think you have to look at your insurance policy, and unless your insurance policy specifically covers it's going to be too hot for me to travel, you won't. You will make a decision that will cost you money, I'm afraid. I think anybody choosing to go to the Mediterranean in mid-July is expecting it to be hot. It may be a little bit, a lot hotter than they perhaps bargained for, but I mean that is the situation. I'm a little bit puzzled where I'm not saying you're saying this, but when people say, look, we need to extend our rights in this area, all that does is increase insurance premiums and increase costs. And this is not a product that we see any evidence of demand for at the moment. As I said, astonishingly, very, very few people, if any, are cancelling at the moment because of the heat.
And so there's lots of us leaving the country post, for the biggest amount really post-pandemic. Are lots of tourists coming back into the UK? Are they seeing us as an attractive proposition? I'm just thinking with high inflation and things, is that putting people off, or are many coming this way?
Well, no, we've got a good year in terms of inbound traffic into the UK, and we've got a good year in terms of inbound traffic into Europe. And I tend to look at things I'm here to look at things on a pan-European level. Certainly, America, particularly the United States, we're seeing a record year of Americans arriving in Europe. We're pretty confident we're going to beat 2019 levels, and the UK is enjoying part of that boom. Whether it's doing quite as well as Italy or France or Spain or Germany in terms of its recovery is an open debate. It looks as though continental Europe is ahead of us in terms of receiving American visitors, and it will be ahead of us in receiving other long-haul clients when they start arriving. I mean, at the moment, there are very, very few Asian visitors coming for reasons which are reasonably obvious. One being only one of which is the war in Ukraine. There is also a hangover from COVID, which has lasted much, much longer in Asia.
Tom Jenkins, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really interesting to speak to you.